Hey everybody, welcome back. As the title says, bit of a coffee warm up. We're kind of in an accidental recovery week this week. Sort of had many weeks of hard riding, and then I've switched the chain rings as we talked about, which has taken a little bit of getting used to, but I'm pretty happy with how quickly I'm adjusting. It hasn't happened that good in the past. I've always struggled from the round rings, oval rings. Well, I was getting all the data to do that review, but so yeah, it's been having to do less intensity, still having some good hit outs, but just not as many and not as often, which has been nice just to enjoy riding my bike. I am also a little bit of a update. There won't be too many videos coming. I'll do a couple today. We'll do this warm up, and then we'll have a little bit of a hit out. So there'll be a couple of videos today, I think, and then maybe one more. Then I'm off for a little bit of a break to see family and friends, because the border has made that possible for us now with COVID restrictions easing. So for those friends and families that are watching these videos, here's your heads up, I'm coming down to say hi, but otherwise I'll reach out to you when I'm there and fit a ride in. But I'm not going to take my trainer, so I'm doing it on purpose. So rain or sunshine, if I want to do a ride, I have to go outside. So I'll take a little bit of wet weather gear and just get heaps of outdoor riding in. So even though the Facebook page will still get some updates with just articles and everything, I'd like to keep that updated. The YouTube channel might suffer a bit for a few weeks without too many updates. But not to worry there, we'll get back into it. But yeah, so that's super exciting. It's been fun. Actually, I had to go out and clean the car the other day because it hasn't been cleaned, or almost hasn't. Started it up a few times and driven it around the block a couple of times in the last 6 months. Just been pretty restricted with our lockdown, like within a 5k radius for almost like what seems for 6 months. It's been pretty restrictive. But yeah, so that's all changed. So no doubt having a few weeks off. I'm hoping I do heaps of riding, because normally when I go and visit family, I find a few extra kilos, which is not what I want, but just try and watch the diet and get as much outdoor riding as I can in for that, when I can fit it in. Be pretty busy. It's going to be good to see family, but there's lots to achieve in our time while we're visiting. So lots to do, lots of people to see, and places to be. Just really lucky that my wife and I can, well, as a lot of people working from home, but as long as you've got an internet, working from home means working from anywhere really, so both very lucky in that regard. Be good to get this outdoor riding in, but so I might get some good endurance rides in while I'm away, but also do a few of those rides with keeping that short, sharp intensity. Although I've always been focused on, like, I guess, in a way, my FTP number, not because I want to ride on my limit for an hour, as I keep saying. It's just because whatever test you're doing, if you're seeing a little bit of a better number, well, obviously there's an improvement there somewhere. But am I going to ride flat out for an hour? No. But if it's 2x8 or a 1x20 or a ramp or whatever, and you see a slightly better number, well, that's improvement and keeps you motivated. So, but I will be doing some little hit outs just to keep the intensity there, even just 5 or 8 minute ones. But I need to know what my outdoor power is now. Like, I must admit, over the last few weeks, the amount of intensity I've done has certainly dropped. So my overall fitness is probably down a little bit. But it's not that much. Like, I can't remember the last video I uploaded. I think I did because back on round rings, it's just riding at your limit. It's just very different on the different rings. So I just got to get the muscles used to of the different rings. But as I said, where I'm going to be doing, there's lots of climbing. So I'm back on a 52/36 front around 11/28 cassette will be on my road wheels. So there's nothing anywhere that 36/28 doesn't get up. So not where I ride, but with the isometrics, I've got that chain rub on those smallest gears. If you remember me saying, because I don't use the spacers at the front. So and I hate that noise. And then with chain rub, it's more noise. So it's just because I want to. Well, interesting to see how the power is with the round rings as well, going back. But not that I have inflation, but anyway, yeah. So the best I've done while I was really working hard there was my 2x8. And that was a 390 and then a 370. But I do that in erg mode. I find I'm going a bit better if I'm forced. And the reason I do it 20 watts less is because that's 5%. And the whole idea is to be able to do your second effort at least 95% of your first one, because it shows really good recovery. So I've been able to do that all the time. Not that I almost try to talk myself into it. I just start doing 8-minute tests. You not even do the second 8 minutes, because on that, my numbers are that reliable. But then I feel that's cheating a bit. So I'll always stick with a 2x8. And the only reason I do that is because it's a bit more relevant to the Zwift racing, which I will dedicate lots of next year. I've just got, and I'm not putting it off on purpose, but the rest of this year is just going to be really choppy and hard to commit to certain things. I've picked out the races on every day of the week, which are the best ones to try and chase ranking points. and I've saved them there. So, but I have to admit, they're either early in the morning or late at night. So I've just got to get my fitness back to where I want it, and then just start doing, maybe doing, I don't know, a race. If I'm okay the next day, I'll do a race. If I'm not, I'll have a rest day and then do a race the next day, and just chase some Zwift rankings, which will make things a lot better for you guys to watch, because even if it's on the same course, it's going to be a different race. Hey, Maddie saying hi, that's good to see. So Matt, fella just gave me a ride on. It's not only a good friend riding on here, but he was in my team last year as well. So not sure I'll get to see him when I go back there this holiday, but certainly catch up with a few other teammates, so that'll be awesome. Blast from the past, not that we got to do much racing, unfortunately, because of COVID, but yeah. But yeah, just a real busy, lots of stuff going on, and it's very hard to commit to a schedule for the rest of this year. And look, I know I can just turn up and race, and that's what I need to do. I got to change my mindset. I'm so used to having grown up knowing a couple of races that I really want to go well in, and focusing probably too much on them. Still having a go at everything else I go in, but almost becomes a little bit obsessive trying to focus on those races. And like this being a recovery week, we'll just have a bit of a warm up and finish our coffee here, and then I'll jump into just another little good rides that I like to do on recovery weeks, just for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, just so the intensity's there, but the volume drops down a bit. Like I said, my fitness, according to Training Peaks and Garmin and everyone else, is going, looks like you're going into retirement. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of travelling coming up, and no guarantees of the riding I'm going to get done. So it's just going to be stay in the best shape I can. And yeah, so that'll be a lot of maybe shorter rides, just shorter, sharper intensity stuff. Maybe 1, 2, 5, 8 minute type high workouts, and then just try and roll some Ks in around it. I guess for most people, I don't know, I certainly find it's much easier to maintain than it is to actually achieve. Once I get to numbers, I don't have to do anywhere near the work to keep that number as what I did to get to that number, if that makes sense. Like me getting to riding 350, for example, not FTP, but outright to ride 350, which was a goal for ages. That just took me, well, a couple of years of training. I didn't think I'd ever get there. Then once I did, I went past it and started doing high numbers. So, and that's like when I went over to these round rings, I've got to prove them numbers again to myself, adapting back to these. But I certainly know when I go outside the silent drive training, if I can put out anywhere near the same numbers, I'll be super happy. I think I can perform better on the isometrics for a sustained effort, especially like 20 minutes or more. I reckon I could do higher numbers, like no inflation included. I just think I can perform better on a sustained effort. But races in Zwift and out in the real world, certainly the ones I do, I don't do any time trials. Probably maybe I should, but certainly not the stuff I do. And just so nice to just, I'm looking forward to just enjoying the scenery and doing some rides with some friends and no intensity. But I only did a hard suck by myself. I'm with friends and family. I just want to roll in and have a chat. Take in the views of the old courses. But yeah, so the best I'd done on the isometrics was 390 and 370. And just getting back used to these round ones. The other day I did I think I recorded it, I'm not sure. I did a 350 just for 5 minutes. And certainly that was not anywhere near redlining, which is good because I've done 350 comfortable enough for 20 minutes in the past. So that's when I should be able to do 370 if I'm really fresh, if my FTP is correct. But keep in mind I switched over and started doing the 2x8. But at the time I switched, my 2x8 and my 20 and my ramp all pretty close. So the fact that I've stuck with the 2x8, like, I have no reason to believe that because my numbers were constant beforehand, no matter what test I did, that because my fitness has increased in one of those tests, that it hasn't in the other ones. But I don't know. But I do know that 350 for 20 minutes as part of that FTV interval, I was trying to do 30 minutes and I just decided to stop. It certainly, definitely was not hard as a 20-minute test. It was much easier than that. So I certainly could have went higher. Could I have done 370 for the 20 minutes? I don't know, but would have been well above 350 anyway, I know that. But so just gradually getting the legs and the intensity ready for these other rings, because I find if I go too hard or too long, that my legs, because it's different muscles I'm engaging, different muscles or different timings or whatever, there's certainly a difference the way the muscles engage on the different rings. I find I'm just so destroyed on the round rings, like the next day or later that day or even through that interval. Like, it's just that I'm feeling better. Like this last week when I've done the little bits, I felt much better on these round rings, and the numbers have been really good. So I just did 5 minutes at 350, and that was comfortable, not remotely anywhere near test effort. But I don't know how far I could have went. And then I set out the other day to do 10 minutes at 370. And I thought, I'll just see how we go. And I ended up stopping at 5 minutes because I didn't want to push too much, because I was hoping I would maybe have a recovery week and do a decent test this week, although the training isn't there to back it up. But so I did pull the pin halfway through that 10-minute effort, but I had gone up, that was 20 watts from 350 to 370, and I didn't really feel much difference. So keep in mind, so I know when I do my 2x8, whatever number I do for that first one, that first effort, I know that I can do 95% of that again after a 10-minute rest. Like, I'm confident. Yeah, it really hurts, but I've never not done it. So I'm really close. Like, if I do or don't, I am around the 95 anyway, which is good enough to know what my numbers are. So I've got no doubt. In the past, like I said, my best was 390 and 370. So I know how I felt after 5 minutes at 370. But another 3 minutes of that, absolutely not a problem. So I'd be saying that it'd be at least 380 now, and that's with my fitness dropping a little bit. So I'm kinda I'd say within 10 watts. And that's with, of my current FTP, or what last time I tested, and that's with my fitness being like way down. Like my CTL is almost down 15 points compared to where I was when I was churning out those numbers. So my fitness levels have dropped a lot. I'm fairly fresh at the moment. My form is above zero, but so I'm probably good for 8 minutes. But I almost, I don't know if I'm going to have my little hit out after this, just a little 30 on, 30 off. But whether I do another test before I go and do some enjoying, maybe I won't, because it'll play in the morning if I don't get a good number. But the fact that I did 370 for 5 minutes and felt the way I did, I can just chose to stop, but wasn't in the hurt locker, lets me know that like 380 for 8 minutes would be achievable. And as I said, that's with my fitness being way down and no intensity training. So I'm really close to that same fitness now, which is so comforting. Yeah, but we'll see. It's still always been the goal to ride at more than 350 whilst weighing 70 or less. Now, although I've done higher numbers at above, so I guess my numbers are equivalent to 370 at 72. I don't know what that equals, but let's have a look. Okay, well, 370 divided by 72, which I think I was 72. Oh, done this thing. Let's put 73 in to be safe. Yeah, either way, that's 5 watts per kilo for the actual ride, not FTP, but so put it this way, if I can ever get my weight down under 70, which is all discipline on my diet, my training's already there. If I can be as focused on my diet, like I'm 72, 73 now, I'll be 74 or 75 after coming back from holiday I had. You can't out-train a bad diet, and I guarantee you I'm going to put weight on whilst visiting my family. So it's just if I can reset and be as focused on my diet. It's hard to justify because I can eat whatever I want at the moment. I eat 80% clean. I certainly have a treat. But if I put some more endurance Ks in and maybe even a bit of cross training, that doesn't ruin the riding. Just watch that diet. I know I'll get down there because I've been at 70. So I still had something to lose. I was pretty thin, but still had something to lose. Another kilo anyway. So to do that and be able to ride at, I can still ride at 370. I'll still do my 390 or plus at weighing 69. That would be unbelievable. Something tells me I reckon I'll get to 400 and 380. I really think I can do it, but it'll be lots of intensity work But 390 was just, I remember, well, I got the video, which is good to look back at. It's so hard. But I'm not far off that now. So just a matter of building up again. And like I'm so much fresher now, like I've been training so hard for so long. Bit of a break is so good, and looking forward to seeing what my outdoor, I might do 2x8 outdoors instead of a 20-minute as well. Certainly I've got the roads where I'm going to be able to do a solid 8-minute effort anyway. It'll be so good to see some outdoor numbers. Usually that in the past they've been 10 watts or so higher, but I'm so accustomed to indoor riding all this year. I just don't know how much it would have changed. But it'll be good to see those numbers. I'll be able to report them back on via the Facebook page, so most of you people that follow that page as well will be able to do some updates. Just won't necessarily be on via Zwift. Alright, call this warm up done. We'll jump over into something else. Alright, we'll see you shortly.